disrespecting all of the best ones.
No, I'm not.
You are.
I bet you've never had a Yorkie in your life, and have you?
Yeah, of course I've had a
you've
Yorkie.
Is that a
eaten
euphemism?
He's eating man's chocolates.
No, you're not allowed to say that now. They've got rid of that slogan.
Yeah, not for girls. It's gone,
not for
isn't it?
girls.
I did notice yesterday when I was watching the football it's now the superior player of the match.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Is that
So
where
even
we're at
in
now?
men's football, it's no longer man of the match. And I realise in women's football that doesn't work, but they can have a player of the match in women's football.
Or I can have women of the match.
Right, woman of the
It's
match,
now,
yeah, exactly.
it's
There's
now
nothing
the
wrong with it.
superior player of the match.
How pathetic, isn't it?
World's gone crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's too much.
Absolute madness.
Personal access chambers instead of manhole covers as well.
Yeah, what's that about?
Really?
Did you? What was that?
I remember going back to my legal years. There was this was when it was all first coming in. I made a mistake. If somebody tripped over a manhole cover, and we weren't allowed to describe them as manhole covers, they were personal access chambers.
Really?
Yeah. So
That's
manholes
a
are out the window.
shock,
This is
man.
going back
Mad, isn't
20
it?
odd years. Yeah. God, no,
This
not allowed
world
to
is so upside down.
Yeah.
nearly
Let's
collapsed
move
there.
on and talk about carp fishing.
Yeah, that's the
Yes,
one I reckon.
guys, welcome back to the All-Ways Carp Fishing Podcast. Once again, in the studio, I am joined by Mr. Ian Chilcott, Scotty Day, Harry Charrington, and our guest this week, we have mountain climber, solicitor, and Carp England boss, Rob Hughes.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Welcome, mate.
Thank you very much. Nice to have a seat at this esteemed table.
Yeah.
I must say, especially as there's cake. So, good. All
What
good.
what you've done again, Dino, which is totally bypass the person who isn't here and given reasons. I did notice you didn't mention
No, you were
me.
we
And
sort of-
Lewis brought up the fact that I was missing on the last one.
He did at the
so I
very
appreciate
end.
That. So I'm going to do that right at the beginning with Lewis. And Lewis has had a week off because he's got his wedding day on Saturday.
Yes.
He's getting ready for that. But he's also got married yesterday. So he's getting married.
Typical
to
He's got
Lewis
his hands
fashion,
full.
he's doing it
yeah,
twice.
yeah.
Full
But,
week of getting married.
And he's been poorly as well.
He's
so,
been, So 2 weeks ago, he was in hospital.
That was your fault.
Which was his water poisoning that he talked about on,
Yeah.
on a previous podcast that got worse and worse.
That stag do proper smacked him, didn't it?
I mean, we were very gentle. I'd say we were very
He got off
gentle.
lightly.
However,
He
the thing is,
got
I
off
think
lightly. He's only had 6 days in hospital. It was when the tray of shots came out.
I saw that
And
tray.
I think there were 96 shots on it or something stupid. It was like, where are all they going? And everybody's backed off, and Lewis is at the front of the queue. It's like, right, there you go.
There were 90
Wow.
shots of water. That's what happened.
They weren't. The ones I had weren't.
He's
all that water poisoning he had. Yeah. But anyway,
Anyway, get well.
yeah,
Lewis.
yeah.
Keep-
Well, I
keep
think
going.
he is well, hopefully.
Yeah.
And
He's well.
Hughesie's actually. Are you the master of ceremonies?
Yes, I'm
at the
marrying him.
wedding? You're
I'm
the vicar.
I am the vicar.
Are you actually the master of ceremonies?
I am the master. Well, I only found out of the master ceremonies yesterday.
Oh, really?
But I found out a few
Oh,
months
I
ago.
knew about that ages ago.
Oh yeah, they didn't bother telling me that bit. So I'm the vicar.
Oh, okay.
So because basically Lewis has gone through the legal process of having his marriage already.
Yeah.
And then on Saturday, what he's going to do is he's going to have another wedding where everybody will be invited. So I've got to be the vicar and marry them both, albeit that they're already married. And then Abby dropped on yesterday that she wants me to be the master of ceremonies at the meal and all the other bits and bobs
You're
afterwards.
made for that job, Hughes.
I was hoping to get absolutely leathered, to be fair, if
I
I'm
think
brutally
you
honest.
still
There's
can.
nothing that's stopping you from doing so.
Makes it
Well,
more
that would
interesting for the people there. With your,
That would be
leather.
better.
Yeah,
It would be
yeah.
better.
Oh, cheers, mate. Thank you very much. That would be better. Yeah, get yourself drunk. It'll be much better.
Are you having a hand mic or are you having a Madonna mic?
You know what? I don't know yet. I
Okay.
don't know. I'll have to check in. I should have put hand rider or hand rider. I should have put a Madonna mic on my rider, darling, shouldn't
Yeah.
I? So yeah,
It's
I don't
time
know.
yet, mate.
It'll be what it is. It's outside anyway, so we'll probably just shout.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
easier.
It's gonna be a big do.
Yeah, it'll be good though. It will be good.
Good stuff.
Loves it. So, guys, I'm guessing you've all been pretty busy. You've been out fishing. Who's been doing what? I was going to say, before I get into what you've all been doing, I just want to take time to tip our caps to Kristoff, who has gone and landed an absolute beast again. Like,
Kristoff
Cuda
Cuda Slayer.
Oh,
The
mate.
Slayer, Cuda
He
Slayer.
is unbelievable. He's different. He's just different.
he is, isn't he?
Yeah.
You know, what's it, the Mohican this time?
The Mohican, so which is the biggest fish in the Benelux region. So it's 40 just over 40 kilos, which is 89 pounds.
Jesus.
And
Massive.
for people who don't know who Kristoff is, like his whole mission in life is just to go from place to place, from country to country, and catch the biggest fish from that country, or the biggest ones that he can possibly do. He's had 70 pounders from, I think it's 10 or 11.
This was his 11th.
So 70
Yeah,
pounders from 11 countries. Like, he's just absolutely phenomenal.
There's quite a funny backstory, because we knew about Chris through a Carp Talk and the stories that they used to, or the pictures of the fish they used to put up. And me, Crowe and Briggsy used to have a bit of a competition about who could catch 50s from the most countries. And Briggsy one day put up that I've had 50s from 5 different countries, which at the time was really good. And it's like, wow, that's 5 different countries. That's amazing. And Chris went, hello? And we're like, oh, is this bloke from Slovenia? What does he want? He's like, just letting you know that I've actually had 9. It's like,
Why?
you know, when your balloon goes down,
Yeah.
it's like, oh,
I think that number's
he's
like
just-
17 now.
it's ridiculous now. But like, it went from being 50s to 60s to 70s, because 70 is now the big worldwide fish number, isn't it, really? And like getting towards 80s. But yeah, he's done 11 countries at £70.
But like,
That's
and
phenomenal.
it's not like he's not fishing all the time. He books maybe 5 or 6 trips that are like a week each year. But like every year he catches phenomenal fish. He's had a 60 pounder from the UK. I think it was 66, 67, something like that out of home fen.
Yeah.
But not only that, it's not just like he only goes to big fish venues and catches the big. Wherever he goes, he catches big uns. So the time he came to the UK, he went to home fen. His first bite, 66, whatever it was, 60 odd pounds. His first bite. He's then gone to Foxmere.
Yeah.
He's
3
had
18ers.
3 of the 18. One that's a really rare one, paw
yeah.
print.
Right.
Then he's gone to East Delft, so
That
not
was
a
last year.
big fish,
Yeah.
not a big fish. Oh, so was that a separate
That
trip?
was- yeah,
But
that was last year.
okay, so it's different trip, but still he's gone to.
It just shows
East
the
Delft.
consistency, though.
The first time he's ever fished it, it's not a big fish venue at all, but he's caught the biggest fish in the lake straight away. It's unbelievable.
He had the biggest one out of Bled in the winter. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, in the
that was
snow.
in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
snow as well. That was a phenomenal picture, and everyone went, "That's not real. It's Photoshop."
Yeah.
It's like, no, it is real. It's like, they're all like, "No, it doesn't look real," because the photo was incredible. It was like a flat photo because everything was white beyond, and he's just gone, "All right, have a look at the video then."
Yeah.
So you guys know him. You know, you've worked with him. Is he doing anything different? Is there something you see that he does different to others? Or?
He's an incredibly intelligent, basic angler.
Okay.
He doesn't complicate things. What he does is he goes to the right place at the right time, and he gives them a shitload of food. And when I say a shitload of food, I've fished with him in Shumbar over there. I've known Chris for a long time. We fished a few different places together. He was part of the Dynamite team together, and so on.
Right.
So he's a personal friend. He is just incredibly good at making sure everything's right. When we went to, I think we went to Shumbar. I think he put 200 kilos in over 5 days.
Oh my days!
But he's
wow.
really his attention to detail and his precision is where he's really, really good.
So does he take his time in finding those
The
spots?
spot's
Yeah.
meticulous.
Yeah.
It's very meticulous because
Right.
he's there for a week, 10 days, 2 weeks.
It's a campaign.
So
for him.
yeah. So he's like, I'm gonna put all of my effort in straight away.
yeah.
Because I'm here, and most of the time you're going to those venues, you're booking a swim, you're not moving.
Yeah.
So he's putting that time and effort in, and it just pays off. And he's not like, you look at how the rigs that he fishes and the sort of, I don't know, style, and I look at it and I'm like, how are you ever catching anything? But that is the point.
Yeah.
That's the point. He's not trying to. He's trying to avoid the little fish.
Yeah.
So most of the time, it's an 18 or a 24 mil bottom bait straight out the bag on a knotless knot.
That's it.
And that is it.
But
On a very
you see,
good spot.
everybody's overcomplicating everything, and all these fish are being almost conditioned,
Yeah.
actually, to all sorts of ways that we all do these things because we think the latest widget is the way to get around it.
Yeah,
And
of
actually,
course.
what he does is he piles a shitload of bait in front of him, and they go, "We're big fish, we're hungry. There's a load of food over there. We're going to eat it."
Yeah.
That's basically it, which is a lot of your approach as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's like,
totally. I think you picked on a really good point there with him. All he is focusing on is the right place to put it. And I say that about anybody. Any rig invention you come up with, which I personally think is 99.999 recurring % of it is just rubbish. Yeah. If you put a no-knot, which is the basic air rig, in the right place, you'll get a bite, and a bait only increases the chances, I think. And certainly, does he use a lot of boilies?
He uses
Mainly
almost
boilies.
solely boilies.
And using boilies themselves encourages the carp to move between mouthfuls as well. So they're so much easier to hook. You could side hook a boilie, and you'll probably still hook them if you get them feeding confidently. I use lots of bait. I've never used 200 kilos in 10 days. Though.
It was phenomenal. He had a trailer load because I couldn't believe how much bait he'd taken. It's like, is this the stock for the year? And he's like, no, it's just for this week. And he mixes it up a little bit. He'll use 2 different types and different sizes and other bits and bobs. But one of the things with Chris as well is that we coined a name from the Cuda Slayer because wherever he goes, he just slays them all the time. But it's very, very different venues as well. So, he's not like he's a gravel pit angler. He will catch them wherever. So he had the big one out of Etang 5. That was the biggest fish in France for a while. That was his PB prior to this one.
Was it the dinosaur? Was
So
that what it was called?
I think that was what it was called. But anyway, that is a massive gravel pit. He'll then go to Shumbo, which is a square hole in the ground that's overstocked, but he'll pick the big one out of 1,000 fish. He'll pick the big one.
He went to Orellana, his first bite, a 50-pounder.
Yeah, they're rare in there as well.
They're
big
rare,
fish, but
it's a difficult lake.
I feel about this big now. In my tiny little world that I live in.
Yeah, but he's a freak.
And
he's not a bad freak.
you're going to get one. You get them in every generation, don't you?
Yeah, and that is his thing. Like, he wants to go from one lake to another, big fish venues, and catch the big ones all over the world. That's what he wants to do. What you want to do.
I want to do that as well, but it's not quite
as
easy.
Has he got a job? Let's ask that question.
So he's a salesman back in his home country. So
bless his heart. So he's got some commitments outside of from away from
full-time full-time. Yeah, basically he just takes all of his holiday and puts it to fishing.
definitely.
So it's not like he's not going, once a week. But every
makes it count
sort
when
of
he goes.
6
His
weeks he'll
holidays
have a trip.
He makes it count. And he's actually one thing that we haven't discussed with him. He's actually a really nice bloke as well.
Oh, he's a
not
leg.
arrogant.
I've
at all.
never ever met him. I've seen him a million times, of course I have. It's crazy.
He's a lovely fella. He's just a really, really nice.
He has got some kind of magical power, though.
Yeah.
You can't catch that many big
He
fish.
could have female
Be
pheromones. You know that, don't you? He could be. I don't know if you're allowed to say that in this day and age, and I might be throwing PC out the window here, but he could have. I remember back in the day, getting your girl's pants and putting them in your, leaving them in a bag of boilies overnight and then steaming
When you
them.
say I remember back in the day, as in like that was what you were doing, or
No, people told me about it. They told me about it. Yeah. Well, don't you remember there's a guy on Save? I always remember it's in the book, one of the Malin's books, Tiger Bay, I think. The guy had fish there all year, not caught a fish. And he rang his wife up one day, he was down there for 3 days, said, can you roll me some boilies? And she swore and said, no, I don't want to do it. I've seen you do it, stinks the house, all that stuff. Well, she rolled him a couple of pounds, I think he said, of boilies. Took him down the lake, fired them out, and had a 35-pound mirror that night. And he rang her up again, said, I'm going to do another couple of nights. Can you roll me some more bait? She only rolled him a pound of bait this time and swore at the gate she would never roll him another boilie, which she never did. And he had I think he had another 35-pounder and never caught another fish all year. The only time he caught was on. And it's in the book. It's there for all to read. And, I always feel, when in this country at one time, all the biggest fish that were caught in this country were caught by women. The biggest salmon, the biggest sea key fish was a mako shark, 500-pound mako off the Ediston lighthouse by a lady, and I think them pheromones do work.
Yeah, you're not allowed to say pheromones. So
You're not.
that just opens up such
What's
a
like
load of...
estrogen? Am I allowed to say that estrogen? Is that really good?
As
Most
soon
of
as
the
you
most
mention
successful carp
pheromones-
anglers in the world know that
God.
pheromones work, don't they?
Everybody jumps on pheromones straight away. It's like, let's start this ridiculous rumour again. Not the female ones, but
Oh no, the wormy
all
one
the
is
other
just.
stuff.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
here we go.
I've gone past all of that. It's just crazy,
Wow.
crazy.
Anyway,
So,
well done,
yeah.
Kristoff.
Yes,
Yes,
well, very,
yes,
very
yes,
well
well
done.
done,
Yeah,
very, very
good
good.
man. Yeah, salute you.
Yeah, amazing catcher. So just touching that again within really, really simple fishing, do you think, looking at today's carp angling scene, we give too much credit to the carp and the rig mechanics are overlooked and overthought about too much?
Sorry.
Oh, go on.
You-
No, go on.
I was going
Go
to
on.
say yes and no.
I'd have let the guest go first, wouldn't I? He wasn't here last week.
I've missed out a fair bit. I think yes and no, because he is using very simple rigs and I think more to the point hook baits
Yeah.
to make sure that make sure his rig stays in place for longer. Make sure that those little fish aren't the first ones that come and nab it. If you fish very much like how I would probably fish, which is a little 12mm pink dumbbell or something like that, a couple of grains of plastic corn, you're going to catch more fish, but they're going to be smaller, and you're probably not going to get that chance at that bigger fish. So you've got to decide what your payoff is as an angler. And those simple rigs, without a doubt, work. I think what's more important is your hook bait, because I use a simple knotless knot a lot of the time and catch a lot of fish, but that's because of the way that I'm baiting, the hook bait that I've got on. So I think we concern ourselves with the rig more so than the bait and the hook bait, and I think that actually does more to the number of fish and the size of the fish that you catch than what
I'm going to be
Yeah.
really
itself.
controversial now. I think that most of
Lewis
the
is
time,
back.
I think most people don't actually think, they just do. And the biggest problem is that they do because they think that's what they've got to do. They don't think about what they should do, because every angling situation can be slightly differently depending on whether you want to catch lots of fish, whether you want to catch big fish, whatever you want to do. People just go through emotion, but they don't think about it enough.
I would 100% agree with that totally. I just think they think that's what they've been, and let's not slag the internet down too much, but that's what the internet has told them to do. So they go on and do it, and then they'll go and sit down and watch it after they finish that session and go back with the next thing they've learned. And the thing is, carp fishing, I am the oldest here. You know, Rob, you're in your mid-50s. I didn't want to tell
I'm only 36.
That's why I asked you how old you were this morning. But
coming here again.
And you see things from a certain angle. And the guy that, what's his name, Christian, he would fish so differently to a bloke who's got 3 kids, family, mortgage, the whole sort of thing, and he gets an overnighter. Sort of once or twice a month.
Yeah.
Well, he's not going to go and stick the best part of 200 key in and put a 24mm boilie open for a big one in the middle of it, is he? He's going to fish very, he'll do the small bit of bait stuff and all the rest of it. And I mean, I've learned that you can put lots of bait in an overnighter and still catch lots of fish. But it's for a guy who's got all that in his life, it's difficult for him.
I think the key thing is that every angling situation is different.
Yeah.
And as a result, you need to apply yourself to that angling situation. So before you even think about the rig or the hook or the bait or anything like that, you need to think about what you're doing and what you want to achieve. And people just don't do it. And that's the match mentality. When we're in competition, if you look at the competitions that we fished as Team England, first one was on a river, second one was on a French natural barrage reservoir, big old place, third one was on a shallow silty place, fourth one was on a rowing course, fifth one was in South Africa on a massive enormous inland sea. They're 5 very, very different places. The key thing I think that most people overlook is what they're fishing over. The amount of people that don't know what they're fishing over. It's like, how do you know what you're going to do if you don't know what you're fishing over.
I mean, I find rigs are like, if I've got 1,000 things that are important to me, the actual rig I'm using is about 937th on that list, because to me, it's all about putting it in the right place, and the right place for me, because that's where all their natural food is in the silt. And I like helicopters, so all I do is knit my stock bead up a little bit further up the leader or the main line, whatever I'm using, just so it can sit naturally in the silt. I don't have to worry about the hook and all the rest of it. That can be anything it likes.
So when you're fishing somewhere, you're bouncing around different lakes, do you always look for the same sort of place?
Yeah, I am.
So, and that's why your rig works.
Yeah, exactly. And my whole mindset is to I'll find the gravel, but I want to fish the silty bits next to it. Yep. You know, and there's certain things I always say, you know, you can have as many drones and as many bait boats and as many things that electrical things my conversation with my lead, it tells me everything I want to know. The way you pull it out of that silt, you know, the rods. You can even get a £3 test curve rod bent right over trying to pull it out of the thickest silt. You don't want to be fishing that, I wouldn't say, but you know, in stages. But the depth is just. The rig, it doesn't change. It's how far up the line that stop is to allow the lead to bury in and stop it. But that's just one of my boring tactics.
No, it's right, mate. I think, like I say, if people forget, you're effectively setting a trap. And the idea of it is to make your hook bait look like a freebie, as natural as possible, aren't you? That's the basics of angling.
Or doing the total opposite and making sure that hook bait is the first thing that gets eaten.
Pink.
Oh, it starts me off. Don't start me off. Don't start me off. We all believe that carp have probably the ability to split the atom and fly rockets to the moon. Yeah, and we use camouflaged leads, and we I think I've said this before on here. Camouflaged hook links, the hooks that are a slightly dull metal colour. You know, my lines. I want my lines down on the bottom, out of the way, and I'm doing everything to disguise my end tackle. And you stick a bloody great big pink or yellow beacon on it to tell those carp that is a hook link. And don't get me wrong, it works.
And they go straight to it. And they go,
I'm not having the straight to it bit. Why do I catch carp on dull hook baits then?
Because they're eating and you've got the meat.
Absolutely, there
but
you go.
The other one as well. Why will something eat steak and then go out and eat it sweet as well? Because you know what? There's options.
Why not do both?
Absolutely.
That would be my cup of tea.
One isn't better than the other, and one is better than the other. It just depends on the circumstance. I tell you what, I've got an interesting story. You just reminded me of. You said about Teflon coated hooks. Now, before Teflon coated hooks came out, they were shiny.
Yes.
And I remember when I first started going underwater, one of the first things that jumped out to me, and I'd like to think that some of the research back then led to the coatings being changed, because I know, was it Fox that did it first, or was it Cuda or ESP that did it first, or was it that thing that happened at the same time?
What, to do a
Teflon coated hooks? I was in Kingsbury Water Park looking at a zig rig, and the zig had been cast out, and I'm swimming through the surface looking for where the zig rig was. And before I even saw the bait, I could see a flash going on and off and on and off and on and off.
Is that just the sunlight hitting it?
You said that on the fifth one we did. We were fishing Farlow's. Went. It was the fifth one you ever did.
Phenomenal.
And there were lots of things came out that we really didn't take very seriously, I don't think. I think one of the things you said about my thing, you can see your hook lying in amongst, it was PVA bags I was putting out, wasn't it? And you could see my hook in amongst.
Because Teflon coating didn't exist then. And when the light shines on it, you know, where you get flat surface, the light travels through it, bends as it would do, and then just goes straight. As soon as you've got ripple on it, what happens with the light underwater is it moves. Because obviously 1 minute it's going through flat, the next minute it's going that way, the next minute it's going that way. So that light is basically doing that, like a pendulum underwater. And every time the light goes over the shiny hook, it was flashing. And, you know, this was a zig rig 10 odd yards away from me, and I couldn't see the bait, but I could see the flashing beacon. Literally, every time there was a ripple, it was doing that. It's like, whoa.
But
and then,
is that a bad thing?
Because it can be, can it?
You really picked it out.
Yeah.
So surely a fish would have picked it out as well. Then it's we don't know whether the fish is going to go, oh, that's horrible and scary, or oh, what's that?
This is where you come on the danger association, and using just that dive again, exactly that same day, it was really obvious. Kingsbury's very shallow. Do you know Kingsbury Pine Pool,
Yes,
Midlands?
yeah.
Did you fish a match there in the BCAC once?
Yeah.
I fished it many years ago.
It's basically
That's how we're fishing.
It's like that was 1994, wasn't it? So, but basically, you've got it's like a clover leaf that they've dug the middle out of. So there's 3 very different pools, and it's very shallow, crystal clear. When you stand up, and it was the first time that I really got to see carp associated behaviour with humans. When I was stood up on the bank, they were off like a shot. As soon as they saw you stood up, that was it. You went. They'd gone. As soon as I got in the water and lay horizontal, they'd come up to me. And they would literally swim up. And it was really interesting that they swim in round and round and round and round, just getting all dead excited because I'm horizontal. I've knelt on the bottom, and as soon as I've gone vertical again, they've all gone, fuck that for a game. Oh, sorry. They've all gone...
Language is okay.
Sorry, is that all right?
We have a bit. It's
Oh, do we? All right. They've gone, oh, blimey, I don't like him very much.
Potty mouth.
And they've all swum off.
Why?
So literally they've all disappeared. So as soon as I look like a human, and one of the biggest things I think in carp fishing is associated behaviour. Those carp are conditioned to do certain things, and we can have the bait or location argument. Location is always the best, but actually if you're campaigning, I'd say bait trumps it, because you can keep putting bait in the same place and you can force location because carp come to the food. Whereas if you're just going on a one-off, then actually location's more important because you haven't got time to condition the fish. And the key thing these days is, 1, we don't think enough, and 2, we don't look at conditioning. And through the diving, and we'll probably come into this at some stage later, and I know that you don't necessarily like all the stuff that's being shown, but for me, all of this stuff that's been shown with cameras now, I was doing that 15 years ago. I'm learning different things now, so I want to learn about how carp behave, their relationships with each other, how sound's transferring through water, and it's hugely interesting.
They
when
grind
you see
their teeth in their throat, don't they, and
Well,
talk to each other. It's amazing when you hear it. I've heard it underwater.
There's a really interesting story about a colony of fish. It was, I think Attenborough picked it up first. There was a colony of fish, and they'd made a harbour in the area, and suddenly these fish weren't there anymore, and they thought, the boats had scared them off. And actually what they realised was it wasn't the boats that had scared them off, it was the noise the boats were making meant that they couldn't communicate with each other to warn each other of danger, so they felt at risk. And as a result, that's why they moved. And it's like rabbits, if rabbits, they thump their feet on the ground, they might flash a tail. There's communicative behaviour.
Yeah, but you're talking about a rabbit and a carp, the brain size is massively different.
They're conditioned though, Chili.
Yeah, but it's all done through instinct. What you're trying to do, and this is what gets me, we're trying to give carp intelligence. They don't have any intelligence whatsoever. They have instincts.
They have
there's
a
only,
basic
there's only
instinct.
4 things they want to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Get laid once a year, eat, comfort, and safety. That's it.
And that's your key point. Your 4th one is why they have to learn, because if they didn't learn, then safety goes out the window.
Over time,
So-
they
and it's-
learn by association. By bait boats, dropping the same little bit of plop in the same place all the time becomes a scary situation for them, because there is going to be some... That's why I change my baiting strategies all the time. I'll never go back and do the same thing over again. I'll put it in the same place, but I'll do it slightly differently. And I think that works.
But it's that conditioning that makes them intelligent.
Yeah.
So it does, though.
I think it raises their instincts. I can't call it. So when you've got a brain half the...
You're both saying the same thing with different words.
Yeah, it's exactly the same thing. That's the point. Scott, you've been really quiet. Sorry.
Just taking it in, mate.
It's hard to get in amongst you lot, I'll be honest with you.
This is like an issue of whackaday. It's like you go, and you go, and you go.
I think the definition
It was always
of
going to happen.
intelligence, isn't it? What's your definition of intelligence? And
Yeah. And I think it's understanding. They have an understanding that certain things are dangerous, certain things are a risk.
Yeah.
Do they know what a hook is? They haven't got a clue what a hook is. They don't know what a hook is.
No.
But they might know that the scenario is dangerous.
I do think, and this is, they know when they're being fished for.
Yeah.
Which is, and I don't think I can never quite put my finger on what it is they have seen or can sense, but they do know when they're being fished for. Like, we've seen it on the underwater, and it's not you've got a blooming camera there right in their home where they're eating, and they'll be eating in front of that camera, no problem at all. This big alien object, you put a rod on there, and they instantly change how they feed. Instantly. So they know, but I don't think it's because it's more likely that there's a line involved. I think, even though
but you say that, and I agree with you. But we watch them swim through them. They get the leader over the nose, they swim underneath it, they pick it up. Sometimes
they change
sometimes
on a daily basis what they do.
Exactly.
That's the
Sometimes
problem.
they're not.
And at 3 o'clock in the morning, when it's all quiet, there's no leads hitting the surface, people have switched their music off, their televisions, their cookers, and
They're a
whatever
different
else they got, and all the lights are out. They become a different animal completely. And, from 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, on so many waters I've fished, that's when you get 3 or 4 bites. And you can, you get that one in the net and have your spare rod and whack it out on the spot, and you're trying to sort this fish out, and you've got another bite because they've let everything down. All that defensive system seems to go.
Can I add my bullock analogy into this?
Yes,
Which is
do
this
it.
is a good one.
This is a classic.
You've probably heard this before.
multiple times.
I told you Lewis is back.
No, we've got
These animal analogies.
I have a bullock analogy, right? So we can't visualise what fish are like because they're underneath the surface. So let's put them into the farmyard. So if the underwater environment was a farmyard, then the roach are like sheep just running around everywhere. Blah, blah, blah. Carp, bullocks. You walk into a field, there's 15 bullocks in the field. 3 or 4 of them aren't interested in the slightest. They're on the other side of the field. They have a quick look up and go, not bothered. 12 of them think, what's going on over there? They'll go and have a look. Of those 12, there'll be 3 or 4 at the front that are cheeky. And they're right up at the front and they'll have a look. They'll come and have a sniff. You go boo, they'll step back, but they'll come forwards again. After a while, some get bored and disappear. They've all got different characters. These things all look exactly the same. They're all part of exactly the same herd. They're in the same field. They all behave differently. And carp are very similar to that. That you'll have some that are excitable. You'll have some that are inquisitive. You'll have some that don't want to get caught and will hide on the other side. So
I agree with you to an extent.
It's not just bullocks.
But there are so many carp, and this is an age thing again. Where I remember fishing the car park, left the army, gave myself a present, 9 fish in 7.5 acres of water, and mate, they were individual fish. They really, really were. They behaved so differently. But when you put in a similar size of water as they do now, maybe 300-400 carp, they act as a herd, and you get more of a herd attitude, and one or two of them go into the bait, encourages the others. And let's face it, when you got that many fish in a lake, they need the food to eat anyway, because they probably finish the natural food in the blink of an eye. So it all depends on the amount of fish you're fishing for. In my world, if that makes sense, I don't know. But
what do you all think of the king of the pond then? There's whatever the A team is, and there's one fish that generally is bigger, and a lot of the other fish behind it never get bigger. And then suddenly that one passes, and another one, or the others will start growing. There's a hierarchy.
The thing is, again, it goes back in years, and the fish that I saw, Mary in Braesbury, she was a proper loner. Every time I found her under a bush or whatever, she was on her own. And then you'd find Malins, and it would be with Mary's mate, and maybe Measles tagging along as a little crew going around the lake.
He was clearly a fun guy to be around. She was a miserable git.
But yeah, I think there has to be, I don't know, I've always thought there's some kind of hierarchy involved in it. I love it.
Hey, it's brilliant being in here and being part of this, because when I've watched this, or I've been sat in the car listening to it, Scott sits there quiet, and every now and again just chips in with an absolute gem.
Doesn't he?
Yeah, and it's real.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm finding this so fascinating. I'm sat here listening to this, and 2 different views, but equally on the money. Do you know what I mean? And it is really fascinating. And I know there'll be lots of listeners to do the same.
Like we're arguing because we have a point.
We're actually agreeing.
That's the thing. It's just you're looking at the same thing with different eyes.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the point is the same. Yeah,
there has to be some differences. We can't all think the same thing. But yeah, I know what you mean. Generally, we're coming to the same conclusion. But
that's what makes some people catch more than others. because they're looking at things differently. They're assessing the situation
I must be
differently.
bloody
They're
hopeless.
reviewing it differently. They're getting a different. They're working it out differently. And that's what Kristoff does.
I think you're right, mate. I think when you look at some of the named anglers out there who target Pacific fish, they watch and learn the habits of that certain fish, where it goes on certain days, its habits over certain weather fronts, and that's going back to that character of the fish, wanting to be at that certain area of the pond at a certain time. And I think those anglers who want to catch, do you know what I mean, target, they set up accordingly. They'll give up, other fish to catch that one by learning its habits.
The most successful ones are the ones that work it out themselves and do it themselves because they're the first to do it. The ones that follow suit are always one step behind because someone's done it before them.
Yeah.
So, your 10%er is the guy who works it out for himself and he doesn't follow what somebody else has told him is good. He works it out and he catches them.
And that is the point
exactly
that you were saying. People don't think enough, and a lot of my fishing is it changes depending on the situation. If I'm going very much like chilled out pleasure fishing, quite potentially to like my sort of private syndicate where I'm not going to post anything anyway, so nobody's ever going to know about it. I do take a little bit of a step back and chill out and put the rods out. I kind of know, I know the areas, put the rods out, sit back, don't really think. In a competition, and like the sort of bigger the competition and the bigger the prize, the more it is exhausting the amount that I think.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Because you are literally thinking about what can I change or do or tweak to get another bite before he gets one, and it is, that's the level that if you're going to be at the top of your game in anything, you got to think about it. Is people can be good anglers via instinct, but I still think that those people are thinking about it. And
They're
you say,
thinking about
that
it,
person's an
naturally.
analytical angler.
Yeah.
That's an instinctive angler, but it's still what's going on in your brain.
But he's not having to think about thinking it. He's just thinking it anyway.
No,
It's
yeah,
natural.
I'm not
It comes
sat there
naturally.
going, I need to think about thinking.
Yeah. It's a natural thing. People are assessing it themselves naturally, and they're working their way around it. And
Yeah, but and that's the thing. If, like you say, the 10% of the guy who goes there thinks about it, does something different,
or do something better.
Not always, but the guy who's the top rod of a lake or catches the big and really quickly or whatever will almost always be doing something different to what the majority of people are doing on that venue, and then people will look at what he's done and copy that, and then that tactic will slowly get worse and worse and worse, and then someone will come on and do something else and catch more than everyone else, and it all sort of moves in phases, doesn't it?
And then there's the bloke that hasn't been fishing for ages, is looking forward to going with his mate, having a barbecue and a couple of beers in the evening, and he's enjoying it and he's having such a good time. He's caught one and he's happy, or he didn't catch one, but it was great to get out.
That's so the point, Rob,
that's it.
because what we're talking about is, and we're probably getting up to that 10% you're talking about. I don't know if I'm in it. I'm probably around in the bottom 25% at the moment. But it's we talk about this guy and the way he looks at catching the biggest fish in the lake, and this guy, the numbers or whatever. Most of the guys who go fishing, booking a swim on linear fisheries 2 years in advance, he's going to plop in there knowing he's got to put it 80 to 90 yards, bait the munger out of it, put free on the spot, and bobs around his fanny. There's so many different ways of carp fishing is being done. You know what I mean? And I don't think... Yes, people want to catch the biggest fish in the lake. But like you said, I think most people want to do what you said and catch a carp. Yeah. And I don't think very often what's said on the internet and what is said by us relates to what the majority of carp anglers are faced with in the country now. Because it's so massively popular. That's the problem with it.
Yeah, but I think what a lot of people are, I guess, in that sense, looking to, the guy who's going on a weekend and, if he doesn't catch, he's happy. If he catches, he's a bit happier, like even happier. They're looking to the guys who are going, all the time who are the thinkers who are working out a new tactic and going, you know, like give me an edge.
That's what we do as a business. That's what we do.
And
We're trying to show people how to make fishing easier or better for them so they can go out and catch more.
Yeah. And there's always going to be someone who's coming up with a slightly different way of doing something, or you know, they've found something that's their little edge that they'll keep to themselves until eventually the wrong person finds out, and then everyone knows about it. It's like worms. There was a very small amount of people fishing with worms for 2 or 3 seasons and absolutely dominating everywhere that they went. Then word got out. Now, worms are still fantastic, but you go to Linear and everyone's got a bag of worms outside their bivvy.
Yeah.
So it's nowhere near the tactic that it once was.
And worms have become infinitely more expensive, by the way, to buy. Yeah.
They're still going to catch they're still going to catch more fish on certain venues.
This is a perfect example of going back to what I said earlier, that people aren't thinking, they're just doing. It's like, you need worms, so I'll go and buy a bag of worms, and I won't have a clue what. Well, I know what to do, but just, you know, using Joe Bloggs as an example, you've got to have worms, so they buy a bag of worms. It's just like saying, oh, you've got to use boilies. So certain people will use boilies much better than other people will use boilies. Certain people will use worms much better. Just because you've got a bag of worms doesn't mean to say you're going to replicate what's happened.
But also what you've got going on there
so.
is, are you saying that the fish are then learning by association, and because everyone's doing it, they're a bit warier of it? Or what you're doing is you're diluting the effectiveness.
You're
because
diluting.
you're not got one area that's got this amazing attraction.
That's
in
the key.
You've got 100.
That's
and
the
the
key.
fish are like,
But also,
with any bait that's super attractive and the fish really want to eat, which I think worms they do. I remember watching. I was in a match on Berners Hall, and we'd come out, I think, second last in the draw, me and Carl Pitcher, and we ended up, there's a little sort of narrow bay that's up the top end, horrible, rubbish. Opposite us, who came out, we either came out last or second last, and then Hutchie and Bondi either came out last or second last. Wind's hacking up the other end, southwesterly up the other end, looks mint up there. We're like nowhere near the fish. And I'd practiced, and we were using maggots in the practice, and I caught loads, absolutely bad at it, in a really great swim, caught loads. And we knew about the worms, we'd use the worms, but we thought, do you know what, we're not going to need them, we just use maggots. It's going to cost a lot more money for us to get the worms than it is to use maggots, so we won't bother. Hutchie and Bondi used worms, and they were the only people on the lake using them. This was right at the start of the sort of worm revolution. They were the only people using them. Straight away in the match, I see the spawn go out, big brown cloud comes up. They're using worms. This will be interesting. Anyway, we caught a few early on, but we were down the other end with the southwesterly. They were catching most of the fish. On the second day, so Hutchie and Bondi, they'd only put out like a little bit at the start. And I believe, I might be wrong, but I believe one of them called up Wayne and Ryan, who were the sort
invented
of,
it properly.
Really sort of honed it and perfected it. They were just unreal, and they were like, you need to put them in. You need to just put in 3 kilos now, and literally we watched them. They're going for it now. They're putting a load in, and they'd only had 2 fish. Like, okay. And you watched the fish back up off of a mint warm southwesterly, and they just came in front of us, bypassed us, and just sat on Hutchie and Bondi's spot for the rest of the match.
And then they won't move. Even if they're not feeding, they won't move. It's ridiculous.
Battered it.
Yeah.
And the fish were right the way. It's a 26-acre lake. They were right the way down the other end of the lake, and I am convinced that the scent of them worms was carried on the wind to the fish up the other end, behind an island, and drew them up. It was unbelievable. And from that moment, I was like, if there's ever a really important match or something, you cannot not have them. But this is the point now. You go to you went and did that tactic on Berners Hall. If the fish were all up the other end, especially in a match situation, but even pleasure fishing now, that many people know about it, there'd be someone up the other end using them. So you couldn't drag them up to you.
No.
You wouldn't be able to.
The other thing is, and this I don't mean any disrespect to some of the people that are using them, but because they don't know how to use them properly, what they do is they don't use them very well. So as a result, their accuracy isn't good, so they spread it all over the place. So they actually make it a lot harder for people that are fishing them properly because they're just dotting it all over. You know, there was a film out with some people fishing against somebody else, and they weren't getting their baiting strategy right, and you could see the difference. But the same bait is going in, literally on pegs next door to each other. One pair are doing really well, and the other pair aren't because their accuracy was terrible.
It's one of those things that are really sort of I'm always conscious of when I'm fishing and the things that I can do because of the bait that's available to me. Okay, I'll leave it there, but in a lot of sense, I do use a lot of bait, and I use a lot of bait all the time. I'm not somebody who's going to put 3 boilies around a hook and think I'll get a bite. I want to nick lots of bites, so I put lots of bait out. It's money, and Harry said there they started filling it in with worms. Just people can't afford to do that.
Yeah, they spotted out 75 quid in 45 minutes, and still had 500 quid's worth in the bivvy.
I try and tone down what I do so I can honestly tell people what I call fish over. I had that spike at a manor, and I desperately was tempted to tell them, and it was maggot dominated, the whole place. I went up there.
We were there.
It was the first time. Yeah, it's the first time I used that hybrid, a new bait from Mainline. And I just filled it in. I put 3 or 4 key out of there. Everybody thought, I walked down, of course.
This is November as well, when the maggots are really taking a hold.
Exactly. I'd caught a 24-pound mirror, just casting, took one rod down to that swim, cast it out, and it went before I put the rod down. So I moved in there, filled it in 3 or 4 key of bait, and I had that fish early in the morning. And I still think you can do it if you're in the wrong place. But I felt guilty about telling people on a day ticket water that sorry, Harry. I felt guilty that on a day ticket water I was using 3 or 4 key of bait, and
you know what it's like though. You go on sessions, and some of them you're just going out for a session, so you want to catch and you'll make an effort. And there's other ones that you're going to put your best trousers on because actually it's worth something now. So if you're going out and either it's a competition or it's a film or whatever, I am as tight as and that's chuff. I'll admit that. I'm not going to go out and spend a shitload of money on worms because I'm just not going to do it. It's as simple as that. It's just if I want to make a point, I'll take a few kilos of worms. If I really need to because it's a purpose, I'll take a few kilos of worms. I will fish them incredibly well. I will chop them into 10 different pieces so I get more out of them. So people are like, tick, 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 they're done. I'm like, no. Keep going just to get more out of it.
It's like a pinch of salt going in.
The level to what people use them in matches is not a realistic thing.
Well, it's big money out there, isn't there? It's 30 grand. You look at Wayne and Ryan as a prime example. Sorry to jump in on this, but I spoke to Wayne and Ryan about them at Wraysbury. And I went, how much have you got? And they said, we've spent 2.5 grand. 2.5 grand on bait for a weekend. And everybody's going to go, what?
Wow.
Your chin at the floor then, your eyebrows nearly at the ceiling. It's like, what? They spent 2.5 grand.
But they won,
and I did exactly
grand.
the same thing. And they went, we're going to win 30 grand. And if we don't win 30 grand, we're going to win 15 grand. Because there's only 2 people doing this.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Why?
And
that's a level of confidence.
They won 30 grand.
They were that at the time, and nobody. And to be fair, I say at the time they'd still do it.
Yeah.
Because they are that good.
Yeah.
But they just knew there was no one else doing it. They'd kept it quiet. They kept it to themselves.
Yeah.
They'd perfected it, and
all they needed was to be in a swim where either the wind would take the smell out or there was going to be passing traffic. And they knew that they were going to be either first or second because there was only one other team doing it. And literally, when you fish it right, it is that guarantee.
Did they get the 30 grand?
Yeah.
Well,
So
they did it the following year as well.
The first time they used them and did it, they weren't in the right swim, and Kevin Bart won. Just fishing with sweet corn, fishing very, very well. This is on Wraysbury.
Yeah.
Then the second time they won. Kevin Bart came second. Third time they won. Kevin Bart came second.
Really?
Back in those 4 years, Kevin Bart had they had a first, a second, and a third.
Yeah.
And Wayne and Ryan had a first, a second, and a third. Now, and this is where all that pheromone bull came from.
Do you know I'm still a world champion in this match fishing scene, don't you? And all I do
Every podcast.
How long did it take him?
Oh, I love it.
On the sweep.
Do you know what? I want to ask a question now, because there's going to be a lot of people listening to this going, right, we need to go out and get some worms and all that.
Yeah.
When you're talking about these anglers, and I know you've spent a lot of time around some of the best out there, what makes those anglers different? When people now are going, right, let's make some worms, but to
attention to
accompany
detail
that,
on every level.
what do they have to do?
Attention to detail on every level.
Yeah.
There's nothing like at the England level. It's there. You can't leave anything because, people talk about competition carp fishing. If you like it, great. If you don't, then absolutely no problem. Carp fishing is such a broad church that you can do what you want. But the thing about a competition is it is a great leveler. You can't win from a draw, but you can lose from a draw. But where you have the FIPS events, it's a team event, so you're going to get a bit of rough and smooth all the way through, and you can guarantee that everyone else is there. They are the best that their country can offer.
Yeah.
And as a result, you cannot make a mistake. If you make a mistake, you can't come back from it. No. It's really, really hard to come back.
That fine
from
line. It is.
It is.
You can't come back. You can work your way up,
but you won't win.
But every time, the people who win have got it right from the start.
They've not put a foot wrong.
Very right.
So, and
so close.
So it's putting the rig exactly where they want it, the bait exactly where they want it.
There's so much more to it than just that.
It's way.
That's a really simplistic way of looking at it without being rude to that question. Yes, of course they're doing that. But that is such a small part of the equation. There are so many other things to do with it. When you're in a line, our sections, there might be, the biggest one was 32 nations.
Yeah.
So, this is like the Olympic Games.
The best
when we
of the
go
best.
through these things. They are the best of each individual country that they can put forward. And no disrespect to Georgia, they haven't got the breadth of carp fishing experience that we have. But when you look at the likes of Romania, Croatia, France, Ukraine, they're better than us.
And
they fish competition all the time under those rules.
It's a bit funding that the teams have as well. You've got the Ukraine, bless them, like their government funds them. Their teams.
It was a private individual with Ukraine, but it was there's a lot of money that were put into there. So it isn't just about money. Money makes it a lot easier. You've got to have the skill set. You've got to have the ability to do these things. But you know what it's like understanding the venue. If you've been to a venue before and had a bit of a practice, we went to Hungary the first time, fished over there. I called it wrong. Ultimately, as manager, we sit there as a team, we discuss tactics, but ultimately it's my shout as to what we do or what we don't do. And I called it wrong because we found a method to catch grass carp when we were in practice, and it was ridiculous. Average size of fish were like 3 to 5 kilos. Grass carp were 8 to 12 kilos. Other teams are practicing there. They're catching 2 or 3 to 5 kilo fish in the course of a night. We're catching 5, 10 kilo grass carp in a night. So we were absolutely wiping the floor with it. Practice was amazing. We've got it nailed on. We've gone there. There's been a complete change of weather conditions. It's pissed it down for a couple of days before, and the water temperature's dropping. Now, hindsight is a really easy thing, but I've got to make a call. Do we go with the grass carp method that we know no one else has got that we think we can win on, or do we go back and do we just fish it normally and go head to head with everyone else? And for the first 12 hours, it's a case of, right, we'll see if we catch the grass carp, because if we do, we've got this. And we didn't have a sniff, and we came out the first day stone cold last. And when you've made a decision that puts you at the bottom of the pile, there were 28 nations in that, and the next morning we've all blanked, and we are last. And it's like, the reason we're last is because of that call.
And that's what you say, you can't make that mistake.
And we can't make it back.
Level.
We got back to a top. I think we were 10th in that one.
No, we were higher up. It was
sixth,
somewhere between 5th and 8th.
Anyway, so we've turned it around. Long and short of it was a real learning curve. We got a couple of methods that we knew worked very well on there, but what we do is we watch the other teams.
I think the real key with the first time that we went to Hungary, and then when we won it,
solubles.
I was going to say the key was when we were first in Hungary, we had a lot of people and good anglers on the bank watching the other teams and watching what they were doing, and basically working out, right, they're doing this, how can we, or what would we do to make that better. This was not knowing that, like, we were going to go back there in a few years' time, but you always want to analyse what's happening and work out why you didn't win. And pretty much apart from Wayne and Ryan, all of the guys who actually ended up fishing in Hungary the second time.
Billy and Jamie didn't either. We had completely different teams all the way through. It was a very different team when we went back to Hungary the next time, but we didn't know we were going back to Hungary. It's supposed to be in Russia. It's supposed to be in Ukraine. Obviously, those two have kicked off with each other, and it's gone back to Hungary. It's like, great, we're going back to Hungary. We've learned a lesson last time we went there, and we got a 4-point score, which, you know, that was a world championship. When it's nigh impossible to get a 4-point score, isn't it? Like a 3-point is a win-win-win. Sections, you know, you got 32 nations competing, and you beat 31 nations in every single section. That's a hell of a result, and it was down to that learning curve of the first one. You know, we know where we went wrong. We're not doing that again. We won't make that mistake twice, and we won it a second time. Yeah, and it was
you had to find out the bait, and it wasn't just it was solubles, but it wasn't just just any old soluble. It was one soluble that was better than everything else. It was how to apply it as well. How to apply it, your baiting strategy, and every one of these matches has been won in such a different way because you're on different venues and stuff. There isn't a
prime example with the soluble thing. The solubles work really well on a silty bottom. They're not as productive on a gravel bottom, because when you're fishing a silty bottom, if you'll put normal boil bait into there, when it sits in the silt, it will pull in the smell of the silt. Whereas a soluble goes the other way around. They're sealed in a different way. So as a result, the smell that comes off a soluble is a lot better. It lasts a lot longer. And especially when it's breaking down, one of the attractions is you can get them further because they're heavier. And also what they do is they'll scent an area. And then they disappear. The roach will come in and clear the bits up, but they've still scented the area. So it makes when you do fish a little bit more attractive. But, you know, just looking at sections, we're going into real deep competition stuff now, but we've got 3 different sections. You've got a slightly deeper bit of water down that bottom end. The mid-section that Bart and Kev were in as a prime example, they're in a row and they've got really good casters either side of them. We've got to be really careful not to push the fish out. So it was a case of actually we're throwing sticking bait in rather than spodding it. Because if at the beginning you pull a shoal of fish, if you've got 20 fish in your peg and you pull that shoal together and you catch 6 of them, the other 14 will disappear. Whereas if you spread wide, what you can do is you can probably pick 12 off out of a wider area. So we didn't want to spook them out the peg, but we did want to keep them there. So baiting strategy is something like when you're in matches that's at a completely different level again. Yeah. The rise and float, you know, we saw it when we went to Romania for that match for the best 5. You know, best 5 competition, literally pile a load of bait in, catch as many as you can, hope there's a big one there. But what you find is that when you've got a shoal of loads of fish between 8 and 10 kilos, you just keep them there. So we'd have to take the bait away so they'd disappear and then try and wait for others to come in again. And that ebb and flow of bait in a match is totally different level. And it's very difficult to explain to what I'll class as normal carp anglers how important the baiting strategy is when we're looking at these things about how you're going to get those fish in. Do you steam in and catch them straight away and hope that you've caught enough in the first 6 hours, or are you building for a 72-hour?
Yeah. And it's not just the bait; it's where you put your rigs in relation to that bait. Yeah. And how that changes throughout the course of the match. Because generally, what you'll start with is in Hungary with these solubles, you put the solubles out, and you'd fish past. You'd fish way past, because what's happened is everyone started casting. Most people have started spodding straight away because you've only got a short period of time that you're actually allowed to spod in. Yeah. And the fish have instantly pushed out. So most people are sort of spodding up, putting their rods on their bait, where the fish are behind the bait, just chilling out. So yeah, you
go long.
Yeah. So in my case, I just give my rods to give the rods to Carl and let him do the work. But then actually, what happened was, our first fish, we put those rods for like 2 hours. We hadn't had a bite. I was like, I'm going to put a rod on the bait, put it on. 5 minutes later, had a bite, but then didn't have another bite off of the bait for the next 36 hours.
So you're constantly thinking around the process, and at the same time, you've got to be careful that if those fish are coming in, what you want to do is build your peg rather than scare them off. Because it's a weird one, isn't it? I want to catch as many fish as I possibly can, but if I do, I might scare them off, and we might not catch any more. So you've got to strike a balance.
It's
a
such
different
long
level.
game.
It's completely different level.
I'm only asking these questions because I know there's going to be a lot of people listening to this and going, right, Rob spends a lot of time around some of the best anglers out there. What are they doing differently to me? Here's my worms. I'm going to go to linear now. But how can I be as good as Harry and
Can
Bart
I rewind
and
it right to
Maker
the very
and all that
beginning
lot?
of my conversation that they think they don't do?
Yeah.
And collectively we think and we don't do. What we do is we analyse, we think, and we look at the best reason as to why you should do something. Anyway, funny one. Carl, you've saying about Carl. I was fishing with him in Ukraine. We got the practice match for the Ukraine over there, and we got Lithuania on the one side, and you know how big they are. And I can't remember who was on the other side, but these lads are absolute monsters. They're casting ridiculous distances. I'm reeling in. You know, when you've got a big caster, I don't want to tire him out, so he'll cast out and I'll reel in. And he's like, what do you want me to do with this one, Huge? Do you want me to, shall I go long, or do you want me to stick it on the bait at 45 wraps?
yeah. Stick it. Is this a short rod?
Spot at 45 wraps, or shall I stick the solid bag long?
Jeez.
But I would be dealing with the short rods, and the short rods were all clipped at 160.
You're on 60. That's it.
Oh my days! Wow.
We had. Do you remember in Spain? We had when you were fishing with Alexi. This was when we're getting ready for the first ever World Champs. I wanted to bring a level into the team that we had to keep at all the time. And it's like, right, the minimum casting distance at any stage I could call on any of you. You have to be able to cast. I think it was. Would it be 35? Would that be 140 yards?
Yeah,
it was 140 yards. So everybody has to be able to cast 140 yards. That's the minimum standard. If you can't cast that, you're risking being on the bench. And even Alexi was like, bang, he's got out there. It's like, bloody hell, this is ace. You know, you've got to have that standard. And if we're enthusiastic about it because obviously we've done it, but it's just a completely different thought process when you're at that level in competition. Yeah. It's not like carp fishing. It's not traditional carp fishing. It's just totally different.
I can imagine.
But I think to sort of go on your point of what can people do to
relate to
be like that is being meticulous and learning and practicing casting and feeling a lead down, knowing exactly what you're fishing on, accuracy, because a lot of the fishing that we're doing is not necessarily fishing really, really tight on a spot, but if you can do that, then you've got a lot more in your armory. Yeah, because it's you're sort of knowing exactly how to go tight in to then be able to widen out and come tighter when you need to. I think, being meticulous, practicing, and getting confidence in what you do is
and enjoying it. Take a couple of beers, have a barbecue, and do what carp fishing is to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Because competitions aren't for everybody.
I think
just enjoy your angling.
Yeah, you think about people like Bart and Wayne and Ryan and Billy and Jamie and all these guys who are absolute terminators. It is a different. I think fishing is a different thing to them.
Yeah, far different than the normal.
Yeah,
if you like, the normal angler that likes to go every couple of weeks or whatever. Try not to worry yourself with. I watched a video with Bart and he caught 39. Yeah, just go and enjoy it.
It's a problem in angling, and it always has been. Specimen anglers against matchmen. And the wars that we've had around the country trying to get to carp fish on lakes or to fish the way that we want to for carp and do things. And I think it's not that bad now. People aren't against match fishing. I would not fish another match as long as I've breath in my body.
You don't need to, Chill.
No, I don't. But I'm not going to tell you why. I am not going to tell you why. Okay? I refuse. That'd be big-headed if I started doing that. So I'll tone that down.
Retired undisputed, mate.
It's a different world, driven by different things, and
it's almost a different sport.
Yeah, it sounds it to
It's
me.
almost a
I'm not
different
being
sport.
funny. Scotty and I have sat here and ain't said a word for the last 10 minutes because you might as well have been talking ancient Egyptian or something because I'm not really getting it. I understand somebody can chuck a lead away and all that, and what you said about learning the cast, feeling the lead down, I mean, those are such
Fundamentals.
Singular most
things,
important thing
but
you
there
can
are
do.
so many people who don't know how to cast.
Yeah.
They spend all their time trying to tie the latest Fandango rig, and they don't know how to cast. That's not their fault.
No,
but it's.
I think with the casting thing, and I was having a conversation with someone about this the other day. Is I think actually doing other fishing before doing carp fishing, or alongside it, lure fishing, float fishing, river fishing. That is so important to learning how to cast well, because with lure fishing, you've got to chuck it up underneath that bridge, get under that bush, get alongside that margin. Same with like feeder fishing or whatever. You got to like feeder fishing. It's getting it down the same hole every time.
A sad point about fishing, certainly in this country in this day and age, is and the COVID thing kicked it all off in a massive way. Everybody just wants to go carp fishing.
The problem with carp fishing is you have to cast once and then your rig's in the water.
Yeah.
And you aren't learning. You aren't learning how to do it because you're not practicing.
Wait to catch a fish and then bait again.
Yeah.
And
with float fishing or feeder fishing, it's a repetitive thing, and you're learning and you're doing it and you're practicing.
But as a kid, I mean, I went from catching brass and mullet off the rocks down in Beer in Devon to catching roach and gudgeon out the Avon, Keynsham and Salford and Bath. Then it was chub, then it was pike, and all the rest of it. And yeah, you're right. That is what I'm saying. Is it's a skill,
100%,
whatever you want to call it. That people who are coming into carp fishing now never learn, and they don't want to go and trot a float down a river, which I find painfully. It's a painful thing to listen to somebody who doesn't want to do that. They want to cast out a 3-ounce lead and switch the telly on, zip the door down, and that's the end of it.
I've had it in the past. I've had a few tuitions with guys who, the bait that they're using is good, the rigs that they're tying is good, and the thing that is letting them down is their casting. And
what they teaching you?
He learned a bit.
Who are these guys? Can you give some numbers?
And what I say to them, because it's carp fishing that they want to do, they don't want to do lure fishing stuff. I say to them, go spodding, go and get a bucket of cheap particle and spot it out. Put it on a clip and spot it, and
just
do that
dig
again.
Some mud
and again
out of the garden.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this is like when I'd been first picked for the England team. I knew that the weakest part of my game was distance fishing. I could fish at distance, but not at the level of someone like Bart could.
Yeah.
So like I wanted to be up there with my peers. Now I'm never going to be as good as Bart because he's a joke. But every week between when I got picked and when we went to the World Championships, I would go down the lake with a bucket of bait and put my line in the clip at 46 wraps and spot it out. And when I started doing that, I was often missing the clip, and then by the time we got to the World Championships, that clip was getting smashed every single time, and it is just practice.
Practice makes perfect, mate, doesn't it?
I can't even imagine it. Well, I can, but I used to do it when I was a little younger. I don't think I could bend enough carbon to get.
But like I've been out of it for 3 years now, and if I tried to do that now, I wouldn't be able to do it.
That's
give me
a few weeks to get
a month of practicing, and I'll be back at it. But it's just that that
Talking-
repetitiveness.
Talking
of
about
doing-
crossover, I've got an interesting one here. And
I thought you said cross-dressing.
crossover, you've obviously got something on your mind over there.
Sorry, yeah, I was wondering if I want to sit anywhere near you, to be quite honest. But there you go. Sorry. Carry on.
Yeah, talking about crossover, we've given the Cuda Slayer a big up. I think we should give Bart a big up, shouldn't we, for his result recently? He was in the Feeder Masters.
Classic
The
Bart
Feeder
doing a
Feeder
bit of
Masters is a
bashing.
on the box feeder fishing competition where you go through and you have to win your section, 20 odd people in your section. He was pegged next door to the world champion, and would you believe it? Not only has he won the section, he's absolutely smashed the match.
He's
I've
won
heard
it by
lots
like
of things
40
about
odd
Bart,
pound. He's-
especially the size of his hands. They always wear me when I see him. But he is an all-round angler to a massive extent.
But there's no
he's taken
coincidence
things.
there, is there?
Yeah.
Because he understands match fishing,
Yeah.
because he understands different ways of angling, it
Yeah.
makes him better at what he's doing.
But to you know, he could.
It's a really good point to make.
I'll stick my neck out. He could walk into the England feeder team. I think he's good enough to walk in. He's absolutely good enough to walk into the England feeder
But
team.
he doesn't desire that kind of thing, I don't think. I think he does things that he wants to do, doesn't he?
To be fair,
It seems
think
that way. I don't know him that well.
30 grand up for grabs.
Yeah. They've got an England like it's a all any method feeder
Freestyle-
fishing.
freestyle feeder.
Yeah, which is basically
Yeah.
method feeder fishing. Like that
Yeah.
is Bart all day long, and I think they'd be remiss not to have him in the team.
Well, I think it's down to time because I think there has been conversations about it briefly,
Right.
And it's a little bit down.
I
to time,
spoke
but
to him
he's
more in the
phenomenally
past
good
than
at
I do these days.
Yeah.
And every time we'd done it, he'd say, "Oh yeah, I had a sack of bream the other week on." So we'd talk about the waters that he fishes down there in the sun, where I used to fish as a kid. And I had a bag of bream and it was really good. I said, "Oh, what's that in the match?" He said, "Yeah, I want it."
Yeah.
And then the next week he had to go. Somebody's only roach on a river or something, and he'd won that, and it was incredible.
It's having that all round. I had to smile when you said about you started off wrasse fishing down at Beer. Currently, I'm wrasse fishing down at Beer.
No.
Yeah,
The
it's
only
ace.
trouble with it, Rob, they've made those 3 rocks. When you go onto the beach, they were right down the far left-hand side.
Yeah.
You used to have 3 rocks there.
Yeah.
And what I used to do, my mum, crazy she bought me a fishing rod. I was 4 years old.
Yeah.
And I used to go and jump off the first rock, swim across to the middle one, walk across it and jump in and fish off the far one where nobody fished. You'd crack this. And my mum was crying her eyes. I don't remember it. Of course I don't. She's crying her eyes, this crazy little child's jumping in the sea. But, they put concrete across it all now, haven't they? Which is really sad.
Yeah, but it's
a beautiful place.
That Jurassic
isn't it?
Coast is amazing,
Isn't
and
it
the wrasse
lovely
fishing
down there?
superb.
The
sea's
mullet
crystal
fishing
clear.
down there used to be superb.
They're
I don't know if
impossible
it's
to catch.
No, somebody told me. I can't tell you the story. All I would say, if you want to learn about mullet fishing, and why somebody loved fishing from that point on, read the Carp Society book. It's called All About Fishing Memories or something.
I'm just going to get my marker pen out and just write always shore fishing.
But it's what we're talking
just
about.
love fishing now.
It's another part of fishing that teaches you the ability to adjust to different situations. That's what I believe.
It's a very solid grounding having lots of different fishing experiences.
I would encourage anybody who's just come into carp fishing and done no other kind of fishing, go out and do it. Get yourself a little feeder rod, get yourself a float rod and a little centre pin and send a float down the river, even fly fishing. We were talking about lure fishing, fly fishing. I mean, I love to do it. I'm absolutely rubbish at it, but I like... flicking a fly around, and I normally stick a bit of bread on, or a couple of bits of sweet corn. It's the truth. I did a program for BT Sports. It was a fishing TV did it, and I went down with Ray, the boss man, on the River Test, and we were by that Pink Floyd bloke's house, and he just couldn't get a bite. He's fly fishing away, and I went out to this little run, 3 bits of sweet corn on the thing. I was the way they edit it, I'm flicking this fly out, but no, it wasn't really. I dropped it in the edge. Caught about 4 or 5 trout. It was cheating in the extreme, I'm telling you. It really was.
I've just smiled at your point there. Roger Waters was the
that's the place,
yeah. We did a film down there as well. We got the dog with us. Roger Waters has come out to have a chat. And the dog's just stopped, looked around, curled his back, had his
had to
tail out, and left the biggest pile in Roger Waters' garden. It's like, you know when you meet your heroes?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like Floyd, aren't they?
Yeah,
and,
absolutely.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
we were just... Of all the things, hello, you are my absolute hero. Oh, the dog's
Here's
just shut on
a-
your
here's a
lawn.
turd.
Dumped in your garden. Lovely.
Great
Lovely.
one.
I'm going to bring it back to
hold on.
carp fishing now.
Sorry.
I'm gonna have to
yeah,
go for a
we're
wee.
miles away.
Harry's going to disappear for a few minutes, but I'm going to bring it back to carp fishing. Has actually anyone gone recently? Have you been any waters, Rob? Have you?
Oh.
Are you on a syndicate? Are you day ticketing?
I have-
What's your?
I blanked last night, first and foremost. So I was hoping to come in today going, you know what, I had a great night last night, but the day ran away yesterday. I got stuck in traffic. It was one of those, you know, where you're really looking forward to a session because you haven't been for a while.
Yeah.
Traffic was bad. Everything was delayed. Ended up getting there, big rush to get the rods out. Saw a few fish, didn't get close to one.
Right.
And ended up blanking. But I've had a brilliant year so far.
Yeah.
Been doing a bit of fishing up in Shropshire. I've got a pond up there,
You
Birchwood
have?
Pool.
Yes, Birch. How's that
So-
going on?
Don't talk about it yet. You're not allowed to talk about it yet because I'm going to ask you a question.
Oh, right, okay.
So
We will
don't
get
say
into
too much
that.
about
We'll get
that.
into that.
So yeah, so been doing a lot of fishing up there,
Yeah.
which has been lovely because it's a real intimate, nice little place.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
I have had a couple of overseas trips which have been really good.
Nice.
And unfortunately, we've already stolen the thunder because Chris Kuderman's knocked everybody's
Yes.
results into a hat. But I actually caught a 60-pounder from my 6th different country
Wow, fair
this
play.
year. So I'm really chuffed with that. 60s from 6 different countries. That's great.
Yeah.
And then Kuderman's had 70s
Well
from
done,
11.
Rob. Not as good as Chris.
Yeah. You don't find
Don't use it as a competition. I hate all of this. He's had this and he's had so many from there, and I've had 525 40, so everybody else is rubbish.
Yeah.
I hate it. I think that's why I dislike. It's not that I hate, that I dislike matches. Because I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
want to compete against people
yeah.
when I'm fishing. I don't like it. And yeah, people say, "Oh, you're the top rod" and all that. And I'm, God, really? I'm not trying to be.
No, you're just going
if anyway,
fishing.
It's just-
and I haven't been very often. That's for sure. But,
But you know, when there's a comparison at the same time, but you know, for me, I'm challenging myself.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm not
Yeah,
competing against
that's
him.
how I
can't-
feel about it.
You can't compete against someone
Yeah.
at that level, and he's so far ahead. But I'm challenging myself, and I like to do the similar sort of thing, bouncing around again. I've
long
had
as you're
60
bagging
pounder
a few,
from-
Rob, just keep
Mate,
doing it, mate.
It was lovely. It was one of those that the session was. We had a bit of a crap draw. It was a full lake exclusive booking. I've gone over to see a mate. He's got there early, got the draw. We've drawn a crap area, and you know where you just think, oh, that's my week gone. And
Yeah.
it's like,
That's why I don't do that.
but it was
Thanks.
it came good in the end. It was thinking round it,
Yeah,
applying again, talking about the condition, just being very, very different because a lot of the guys there were fishing a similar sort of way.
Yeah.
And I did things a little bit differently and managed to catch
Yeah.
one of the biggest fish of the trip, which was great because it was, you know, to go into the flyer and catch that fish as one of another half a dozen fish that were that big, it would have been nice because you can puff your chest out and go, I've just had 660s, look, I'm ace.
Yeah, of course.
But to sit in the hard corner and grind one out and eventually get one of the biggest, it's like, you know what?
I think people who were
I
there
like
would
that.
doff their cap to you
Yeah.
for doing it. Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
they said that it's like nobody catches. They don't come from this end.
yeah.
These 4 swims at this end of the lake, you don't catch big fish from. It's like, oh well, you know, if I can catch a 50, I'll be happy and
Yeah,
manage
of
to get
course.
60 out of it. It's
Thing is,
like-
you don't have to go there now. You can literally go to Shropshire now and catch a 70-pounder. Halesey's got 70-pounders in a day ticket now, which
Should
is
we have
insane.
a chat about that?
Absolutely insane. Like, and it's,
Best you
Chili's-
don't speak up, Chili.
Chili's booked.
Put the-
I'm
put the
sorry.
mic down.
Chili's
I
booked.
know-
He's put his microphone
yeah, I know
down.
Chili's put his mic, but for me, it's like I've got to tip my cap to Rob. He's created a phenomenal thing in Shropshire. You know, you can rock up now to a day ticket and catch a £70 common. You know, his avenue this week did 2 60s to the same bloke in the same session.
Yeah.
You know, he's creating a phenomenal thing there.
Yeah, I
now.
mean, you can't really call it a day ticket. It's a syndicate with a swim that you can book and stay on for an awful lot of money. It's not.
What do you mean an awful lot of money? $2.5 grand a week? $3 Is it $3 a week?
Might be. I don't.
$4
I haven't-
grand a week.
I don't know.
$5 grand a week.
I don't know.
$5 grand.
But that's
Well,
the
by the
avenue.
time you stuck your $5 grand's worth of
agree.
worms on, it's only a 10 grand
Rob,
week for you.
Rob has very much set out with a plan in mind
Yeah.
to make exceptionally big carp accessible to as many people as possible.
Ooh la la la.
And he's he's achieved that. There's varying degrees of opinion.
Yeah.
I think, and it fills a gap in the ever widening carp fishing market. They are not ever going to be history. No, they're not ever going to be like history fish.
They will be history fish.
Yeah, of course.
They will. They are. They're already history fish. Whether they
Made
are
history by doing
Well,
it.
yeah, I guess when you think,
they're history. It's
like,
history in the making.
There's big rig. That's history. But when I say history fish, they're not like the ones that are held in the highest regards, the upper echelons. They're not the Black Mirrors, the Burfield Commons, the Marys. They're not ever going to be.
But
he doesn't want them to be.
never going to get that anymore.
He doesn't want them to be.
That's never going to happen
And he
again.
doesn't want the anglers that want to catch those fish. He doesn't want them there, and he doesn't care about them, because what he cares about is anglers who don't necessarily have a lot of time to dedicate to fishing, to go and to give them a chance of catching a big one. They don't have the time to sit it out on Raisbury, on Burfield or whatever for
Months
these really
and months on end. Yeah,
you wouldn't. A lot of those fish you wouldn't say are the nicest looking fish or whatever, but there's enough people out there who go fishing for catfish who just are a big massive slug that pull your string an awful like really, really hard, and that's kind of what these fish are. You're fishing on a lake to catch a big fish for no other reason than to catch a big fish.
Yeah,
that's why you're fishing there.
But there's some nice looking, like that common that's 70 in the monument now. It's a good looking common. I think I'd be very happy holding that up as my PB. And Chili now is about to put me in headlock, shaking his head here.
Yeah, Luke Edwards caught that this week,
has,
didn't he?
Yeah. Luke's had a hell of a session on there. But they're not the fish that used to look like 20 years ago in there. They're now, and he's probably put
I think that big one's been in there for 20 odd years. It's not like he's just stocked it like Big Rig.
No,
or like that common.
Yeah, no, like I say, no doubt Rob's had gone through a lot of sacrifice, a lot of pain to get to this point of inviting the cameras down to show the heated pools and how he does stuff, and that would have been trial and error over many years to get to this point and going, right, this is what I do now, and I can produce 70
I'm just looking
fish.
at Chili out the corner of my eye. He looks like he's at Wimbledon because he keeps doing this.
But no, I'm just saying, we all go abroad for, that elusive 60, 70 pounder, and they're now here in the UK, aren't they? That's the...
They are. It is like going abroad.
But Chill's put his mic down. However,
yes.
just don't let it bother you. You go and do your fishing that you want to do.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Mike's up.
I am not entitled to tell you a lot of things. But back in 2000, we called ourselves the English Carp Liberation Army to begin with, which was just a bit of a joke because things were happening with carp in this country. The most disgusting things were happening by a lot of very well-known people. And I had all the evidence, and it was all given to DEFRA one day. And the bloke was doing what he was going to do. And as a deflection to it, he put another vehicle out with 100 Simos in it to put in a lake. And the DEFRA and the police followed that lorry and not the one with a few stolen carp in that were very, very big. And I'm not going to tell you who it was, but that is the thing that annoys me about everything. And I can't say anything because people want to take me to court. They'd love to strip me naked and leave me in a soup kitchen for the rest of my life. And I just can't say the things. People hold people in great esteem who have used carp in the most foul and disgusting way, and I just get offended by it. And if that gets me into trouble, it gets me into trouble. But I love carp. I love, and sometimes I'll go fishing and I want to catch one. And I'll catch one and I'll probably reel the other rod in and go to sleep for a while. Because I just don't want to keep putting them under so much pressure. I don't feel that way. I don't feel compelled to... I don't know. Perhaps I care too much. But there's things I don't want to talk about, and that's one of them.
I'll tell you what, can I cheer you up by showing you some amazing looking carp then?
Cheer me, please.
I will cheer you up. Guys, we've been running a competition on our syndicate community page where the guys can win places on the next social. We've just done one at Merrington, really successful weekend. The next one is happening at East Elf Lakes. So the competition went out to upload a fish that you've had in 2025. And to be fair, I think there's like 140 entries. I've had to narrow that down to 7. I couldn't do it. I got to 9. So collectively, guys, I need you to choose the top 3 that are going to win these places on the East Elf Lake Social. And the very top spot will also win £100 worth of Fox Terminal vouchers as well to spend. So I need you guys to look at these fish that I've chosen and then collectively agree on the top 3, if that's possible.
Do we individually give our top 3s, or we collectively?
Well, I think have a chat, and if you can say, let's all agree with this, that,
I
and the
think we
other.
got to just collectively agree.
Yeah.
So I know if you're listening to this on the podcast, apologies. If you do want to look at these fish, get on the YouTube channel, Fox's YouTube channel, and you'll be able to see the fish that the guys are now currently going to look at.
We'll try and describe the best ones.
Right, so if I
the listeners.
If I pop that there,
Yeah.
and then right. So first up, we've got Bethany, top left.
In a different way
Yeah.
as a gallery.
Okay. So that's
Wow.
Bethany with a £29 fully.
Lovely big deep fully.
Dan Thorpe with a £35. That is a new water that's going to be opening in Essex. He wouldn't have closed the water, but it is opening later this year. And then we've got Gary Kane with a beautiful £41.
That's an old fish, isn't it?
Yeah.
He's
James Clayton. I'll just hold that there, Rob. That is his daughter's first overnighter on a whole syndicate. And
Maybe you need to speak to her about
a wicked fish caught there by James.
cracking pick as well. Really nice pick. Oh wow,
That is a great
That is a
photo.
brilliant
That's
pick.
great.
That's a brilliant photograph,
Yeah,
isn't it?
Jody-
Jeez,
Yeah.
it's got
Cool.
everything
Look
in
at
it.
that.
Caught from the sandpit.
Oh, was it?
That's from the sandpit, yeah, SNR Fishery.
Yeah, where we did the underwater film
and that's
coming
with-
out next
yeah.
year. Oh, see,
See-
I love that. You're not into that, are
No,
you?
I don't.
So this is Lee Whiteley with a £45 carp called the Carrot for obvious reasons. It's like a...
I am all over that.
Valley fish.
I will have to check with Lee. It would be in the comments. It's a syndicate water of his. Oh, it's called...
So just to give some context to what we're looking at for the listeners, this is a common, but it's one of those sort of wild kois or throwback kois. It's not bred as a koi, but it's obviously somewhere in its ancestry there has obviously been an element of koi, and then it has been bred to look like this, where it's got it's sort of orangey mottled with black. I mean, I think it looks absolutely awesome.
It's insane, isn't it?
That is a bit of me.
I think
That.
it's Gurnton Lake or Gritton Lake. I'll have to check with Lee, but
Girton.
that sounds like.
I'll tell you
Girton.
what, Harry,
65 acres, I think.
he
that
looks
said it was.
happy with it,
Yeah.
and that's all
Yeah.
that matters.
Yeah,
mate.
yeah,
That's all
absolutely.
that matters.
It's a striking. I have to say, I'm a little bit with Chili on this. It's an incredible striking carp, but goldfish, koi, catfish, sturgeon, all of these other things that people put in carp lakes, I just don't understand them.
I agree, but this wouldn't have been maybe it was. I'm making.
It might be an
but
escapee that someone's let go as a goldfish or something. But
potentially. But you get these like carp farmers get them where they'll have 10,000 carp that they've just bred from one carp, and they'll get 2 that turn out like this.
Yeah.
So they're not kois as in like you go to the garden centre and get a koi. This is 2 normal carp that have bred together and created that, which is I think it's unbelievable.
It's a striking cut. Oh, hang on.
He's a belter.
Yeah.
Mr. Neil Golden there from a fish from Ed Matthews, Dorford Pool.
Yeah.
Those fish in Dorford Pool are
Yeah,
lovely.
they're stunning.
Stunning.
Really nice.
Yeah, he's got a lovely
It's
fishery
impressive
there.
water there as well. That water clarity is amazing.
Just over £30 that one.
Wow.
And then we've got our good friend Sean Fretwell as well.
Oh, Harry, £10 fine.
with the 44-pound fully that he had
From
only 2 weeks ago, was it? I think he had that last weekend. So very recent fish, that one.
Where's that from?
That was from Frimley Pit 3.
Yeah,
mate.
I caught that twice.
Oh, wow.
Once
Probably
at 27,
20, yeah.
one at just over £30.
wow.
Yeah, I
There
think
you
I got
go.
on the front cover of Carp Talk with it as well, just over.
See, I
30.
told you I'd cheer you up.
All those years ago. Yeah, no, that's good. Well, good on him. And what a fishery. He's very sad. Charlie's mate died there.
Oh,
the
really?
other day,
Oh,
yeah.
I'd want a home
Yes.
film
Mate,
on the
yeah.
same cover because I've got
Yeah.
the big shot and he got the little shot
Right.
at the same time.
And last in the queue is Mr. Shane Beard as well,
Trumped
with
by
the
long
Manor
pen.
Big Zip.
Yeah, that's a nice carp.
That's a lovely-
They're tricky, actually, aren't they? That's
Yeah.
that's a classic.
He's number one for
That's-
me.
it's
that
number one.
common's number 2 and that last one's number 3. I've got
Which
mine, so
common?
that.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's number 1
Yeah.
for me.
yeah.
That common.
Right. So
So we go in with...
Chili's put his forwards. So
That's my number 1.
and it's
So
my,
Sean,
it's-
Sean Fretwell's, £44 fully. I'd agree that is top.
That's,
Chili-
that's number 3 for me. That one. That,
Yeah, and the common's number 2.
yeah.
Chili and I absolutely agree.
Right, so,
How's that?
Which is remarkable, mate.
right, so future it's on Scott and Harry now, if they agree with those.
That's a great looking carp.
It is
has
it's
to
a
be
great
said.
photo
That's
as
mentioned
well,
in
isn't it?
dispatches.
Okay,
That one, that
so-
is it,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah,
it?
yeah.
That's
So-
definitely
So
a good fish.
personally for me, I'd have the orange one and the one with the lad with his son, just because that is
Jody.
I think that is the
It's
best
the photograph.
That's
It's
the
the
best
best
photo.
photograph there
That's the
by a
best
million
photo.
miles.
So
Without
what are we
a
judging the
doubt.
carp or the photo?
Both.
Oh, I've got my criteria
it-
wrong because I'm
I've
going on the
got
carp.
to take the guy from number 3 and put that in then.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, the guy from number 3, which was the last one, that's number 2. The fully scale's number 1, and that is my number 3.
Yeah. If we're going photo again, I'm
Yeah.
with him on
So
that.
we're
I thought we
going-
were
That
going
is
just carp.
just
Sean's
biblical.
No, we're going
A bit of both.
everything.
See, that's a great photograph,
It is a great photo.
and it's a lovely carp.
That's a cracking fish.
Yeah.
I don't know. The tail's slightly chopped off.
It's not chopped off. It's in the water.
No,
Oh, this
Oh,
bit there.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's tight on the snout as well. But
So are we agreeing top spot is Sean with his fully scaled from Frimley?
for
For me,
absolutely, 100%
yeah,
for me.
absolutely,
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
Second spot, we've got the 41-pound common.
Yeah, I
That one
love
there
that. That's
by
an
Gary.
old fish as well,
Yeah.
you know. That's what I like
Well,
about that.
that's my number 2.
And
then.
that I think
I'll go
I might
with
swap them
collective.
over because if we're now on photo, that would be my number 2.
Yeah.
But Jody...
I think these
bet
people want to
common
get
number
there
3.
on the merit of their fish, but that does need to get there as a merit for the photograph.
I think yeah, like that is really capturing a moment. With
Everything. It says
Yeah.
the picture paints 1,000 words, doesn't it?
See, but that
That'd be my
I'll-
number 3.
yeah.
It's hard, isn't it,
I'm gonna
boys?
go,
Yeah,
me,
good
I'd
one.
go 1, 2, 3. That's just my opinion on the fish.
I can't believe these
Yeah.
people who use computers
I'd-
have moved really quick.
so
Ninja.
you're on the common, the old looking common.
I'm at the
You're
fully
on the
scaled, the common,
Yeah.
and then 3 is the guy with his son, which is just. You almost do want to put it as number 1.
For me, yeah. I'd have that orange one above the other one, but I'd.
Well, you're the only
I'm
one who
happy
said
to.
that.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm happy to agree with that comment. So I think we're going. So
fully.
Gary Kane with his £41 common.
As that,
Where's-
is that
where's
top
he,
spot
though?
or
He's
we're
the
going
fully.
Sean? Sean with the
No,
fully.
the Frimley Fully's the
Fully-
the
yeah.
the
he's
top
the
spot.
fully.
Okay.
Sean's that, and then
Second
is it
spot.
Jody? Is it Jody?
Second spot is
Yeah.
Jody
Yeah.
with his son, and
Yeah, I'll go
third
with that.
is the common at
Big
41.
comma, yeah.
Yeah.
I like it's just an old thing.
Well
we
done,
go then.
guys,
That's
and
it.
well done. To be fair,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
of
everybody,
those,
congratulations.
all of those,
Some
congratulations.
incredible fish. I mean, that one
Can
there,
we-
looking at that.
Dean, can we send, I don't know, like a T-shirt or a cap
Everybody
or whatever to all of them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because,
So you go.
Everyone's
yeah,
a winner.
All of those are great.
I will sort that out. We'll get a cap. I'll tell you, we'll get a cap and one of the new Fox mugs over to you. How about that? They went down really well on the social, actually, the mugs did.
Yeah, and
Yeah, nice.
this is going to be something that we're going to do regularly moving forward.
Yep.
Once every month, so it'll be every other podcast. If people want to send in their photos, send it into the syndicate page. So you got to join our Fox's official community, the syndicate page. So find that page, join it, send us your photos. They have to be recent photos. They can't be throwbacks from
yesteryear.
from years ago. They have to be recent photos. And every other month, we're going to pick a winner. It'll either be based on the photo or the fish or a combination of both.
Yeah, good.
And each time someone wins, they'll get 100 quid to spend with us on Edge's end tackle.
Perfect.
Nice.
Happy days. Yeah. Yeah. Fantastic prizes. So, guys, thank you ever so much if you've taken part in this month's competition. Well done to the winners, and you've won your place on that East Elf Lake Social. For that, guys, I just want to say a massive thanks for joining me in the podcast. And Rob, thank you for joining us as our
Thanks
guest,
for having
mate.
me. Brilliant.
It's
Great
been
fun.
fantastic.
Good skills.
See you in
Cool.
a fortnight's time.
Yeah. See you in 2 weeks, mate.
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching, guys,
My
and we'll
word.
see you on the next one.
Time flies.